saw the introduction of the breakthrough US-China climate change deal, which saw both parties pledge to lower their greenhouse gas emissions and collaborate on clean energy and environmental protection schemes. Can these two world powers realistically meet their target? And what measures have they already taken to counter climate change? I'm joined by Wu Changhua, the Greater China Director of the Climate Group, a non-profit organisation working with private businesses, government bodies and financial institutions in order to fight climate change. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So the USA said by 2025 they would cap their greenhouse gas emissions, whilst China said they would do the same by 2030. How realistic do you think their ambitions are?
The two countries are the two largest emitters of greenhouse gases, and so obviously they need to take on their responsibilities and particular leadership, and they've done so. If you look at China particularly, and China has been making huge efforts in terms of saving energy. And so in China, we had energy intensity target, and now we have also carbon intensity target. US on the other side, and definitely has been making efforts to reduce the fossil fuel burning. And just very recently, President Obama announced something called the Clean Power Program, and or Clean Power Plan. And so by just look at both sides together, and with the commitments already on the table, and also look at actions on the ground in reality, I feel very encouraged. Even better, I hope that not only say by 2030 you achieve that, I hope that both of them will be overachieving.
But as you mentioned, the USA, they're taking all these positive steps forward, but at the same time, the Republican Party, many members of the Republican Party completely deny the dangers of climate change. And what do you think of this?
There are always people, we call it climate change denier, and they don't take the scientific foundations for climate change. That's not just existing in the US, that exists here in China as well. Secondly, politically, I think from the US side, really unfortunately, there are more people from political side. They are still denying that, not only because of scientific foundation, but more from the economic interest perspective. And a similar thing happening in China as well. So China is not like everyone say, yes, we're all for addressing climate change issues. So doesn't matter whether one or two individuals, whatever, like it or not, it's already happening. I'm hoping Katrina, Sandy, among other extreme weather events will send a strong alarm to more American people.
So speaking of climate change deniers, one in particular is Donald Trump, who is currently in the lead for the Republican leadership. And he actually came up with a theory that climate change is a hoax that was invented by China in order to harm Chinese American businesses. What do you make of that?
So I just feel it's naive, it's funny. I don't think the majority of people would take that very seriously. So that's my first point. Second point to say, even if it's a hoax or whatever, Donald actually sees it. The world today is very globalized. So if you look at the China market today, most of the American companies, large ones, they're already here. And there will be more Chinese companies, actually business participating in the American economic activities as well. So globalization is already, like it or not, it's a trend, it's a reality today. And the American people, particularly Donald Trump, actually needs to accept it, that the two countries will work more closely together to each other's advantage.
China has already established a pilot emissions trading system in certain areas of the country. Do you think we could see this go nationwide? And what do you think could be the impact of the scheme?
We have 7 piloting schemes, carbon trading platforms already exist today. So it's 5 cities and 2 provinces. And so far, they're all on track. They are all online now. And each of the 7 has their own uniqueness because regionally they are located in different situations. The national scheme is already set. And the national government already said during the 13th 5-year plan between 2016 and 2020, we are going to roll out a national level carbon trading platform. And that's going to be mostly from the learning of the 7.
So far, the USA, they don't have such a scheme set up. Do you think that we could see that in the future anytime soon?
In the U.S., unfortunately, because the political barriers and because they didn't really have a federal or effective federal legislation, so they didn't really go through the federal level carbon trading mechanisms. But at the supranational level, they exist. With the current Clean Power Plan released by President Obama, language is already in it, basically saying potentially they probably go back to trading mechanism there as well. And I believe, at least even short term, it's going to become more effective policy tool in the U.S., comparatively speaking, I mean, compared to China.
One of the biggest events is going to be the UN World Climate Summit. What are your expectations of it?
As I said in the beginning, I think so far China, U.S., among the, I think, already 50 countries officially submitted their commitments, or RNDCs, intended nationally determined commitments, contributions to the UN process. I think no later than October, everyone is supposed to submit their commitments. The process has turned out to be more bottom-up, particularly compared to Copenhagen, which was a more top-down sort of mindset at this moment. And so there's more hopeful. And secondly, large economies already started to set their targets, commitments on the table, and particularly demonstrated by the leadership from US and China. I think that's going to be really valuable. So I'm hopeful in a way. I think it's not going to be another Copenhagen.
Okay, great. All right, thank you very much for joining me here today.
Thank you.
变化非常大。
有啊，就很明显了。
真的可以感觉到，比如现在冬天都不下雪，
自然灾害也比较多。
我有时候就开玩笑说，我说地球造反了。
哎，这东西就跟当年恐龙那陨星砸下来一样，你怎么知道为什么？
我觉得原因挺多的吧。
用的什么机械设备什么的越来越多，然后释放的热能越来越多。
钟先生老师教的温室效应，什么二氧化碳排放过多，
就像给地球带个一层棉被一样。
可能是中国吧。
网上说什么那个资本主义国家排放的多，实际上我没考证过，我不敢说。
从个人来讲嘛，你就尽量减少能源的消耗吧。
就是增加那种公共交通的使用，
就能步行就可以尽量选择步行。
一是要少开车，就是说；二就是说要，就是能源重复利用吧。